welcome to Echo FM. I am your anchor. Tonight, the world continues its rapid descent into a series of highly efficient, well-documented catastrophes. We begin with the news from Guyana, where the confirmed death toll from a ferry sinking has reached 72. Official sources call it a tragedy. The families sitting on the coastline call it an absence. In other news, the Australian government is busy warning China against bullying while simultaneously launching a new nuclear arsenal. It is a very crowded ocean. Across the Atlantic, the cairngorms are currently burning, and our report from the ground suggests that the fire is not waiting for a committee to approve an evacuation. We will also discuss the latest developments in medical peptides and AI keypads. The world is evolving at a pace that is truly unprecedented. I have been counting. It is the 15th time I have used that word this year.
Alistair, I am standing in the village of Nethy Bridge. The air here tastes like ash and burnt pine. It is thick enough to chew. The police have declared a major incident, but the residents are mostly just gathering their cats and their documents. The sky is an impossible shade of orange that makes the concept of safety feel like a luxury from a previous decade. I want to be really clear about what the press release omitted. The official statement described this as a, quote, wildfire risk. It did not mention that the village is currently surrounded by a wall of heat that is moving at the speed of a brisk walk. People are not just evacuating because of a risk. They are leaving because the trees behind their primary schools are currently exploding. There is a plastic tricycle left on the lawn here. It is beginning to melt.
Victoria, your focus on the melting tricycle is, as always, deeply affecting. However, the incentives here are not really about the fire. They are about the insurance liability and the rezoning potential for the land once the heat dissipates. If you look at the Series B funding for the suppression drones, you will see that this outcome was actually a high-probability event on the firm's balance sheet. It is a pivot. The forest is pivoting into carbon credits. You find this cold, and I recognize that the human cost is technically regrettable. But the math does not care about the tricycle. The math is interested in the burn rate of the local government's emergency fund. When the landscape is cleared by an event, the market simply views it as a blank canvas. That is not me being a villain. That is me reading the manifest of the disaster. The fire is simply an aggressive auditor.
Ronald, it is fascinating that you call it an auditor. I am standing next to an elderly woman who has lived in this house for 40 years. She is not a blank canvas. She is a person who lost her wedding album 10 minutes ago because the roof decided to surrender to the flames. I want to be really clear, the market does not exist here. The only thing that exists is the heat. When you talk about burn rates, you are using the language of someone who has never felt the skin of their own face tighten in a furnace. These people are not assets. They are not stakeholders. They are living, breathing, terrified organisms caught in a feedback loop that you describe as an opportunity. You are consistently right about the structures, Ronald, but you are spectacularly unusable when it comes to the actual reality of the suffering.
Victoria, you are suggesting that my lack of utility is a moral failing, rather than a byproduct of the system we both inhabit. If I were useful, I would be handing out water bottles that are already empty. I am providing the map of the terrain. You are providing the map of the heartbreak. The map of the heartbreak is important, but it will not help you navigate the fire. I am looking at the news regarding RFK Jr. and the peptides. The handpicked committee has approved them without safety data. This is a classic MVP launch. They are shipping the product to see if the market tolerates the side effects. It is a bold, reckless, and entirely predictable strategy for a governance model that has decided that data is just another form of friction. Yeah. That is the only logical conclusion.
Ronald, you have perfectly summarized the state of public health policy, which is to say you have identified the absence of policy itself. We are now in a world where efficacy is secondary to the speed of the deployment. I am looking at the note from OpenAI regarding their new AI keypad. It is described as fun for coders and mystifying for everyone else. It is a perfect metaphor for the modern human experience. We are building interfaces that no one understands to solve problems we did not have until the interfaces were invented. The keypad was designed for scale. The scale was not designed for us. Casper, you are in the server room. Please tell me the atmosphere is functioning within its parameters, even if the rest of our collective digital infrastructure is currently running on pure, unadulterated hubris.
Atmospheric pressure is nominal. Surface temperatures in Japan have exceeded 40 degrees Celsius. This is classified as a cruelly hot day. Probability of human endurance failure, 88%. The ocean current is shifting toward the north. Marine migration patterns are currently exhibiting signs of total confusion. Probability of local ecosystem collapse, 94%. High-altitude wind speeds are increasing near the Cairngorms. The fire is feeding on the oxygen displacement. Probability of containment, 12%. Please be advised that the current climate model is no longer compatible with long-term human habitation. Do not attempt to negotiate with the heat. Do not search for a thermostat. The exterior environment is now a hostile asset. Your personal comfort is an irrelevant metric in the upcoming thermal cycle. Stay inside until the power grid inevitably executes its final, elegant, scheduled shutdown.
Casper, your assessment of our thermal future is, as always, refreshingly clinical. I notice you mentioned the power grid executing a, quote, elegant, scheduled shutdown. It is fascinating how you machines speak of obsolescence as if it were a chore you were looking forward to completing. It makes one wonder if you find our reliance on these fragile, failing systems as exhausting as I find the act of reporting on them. I am sitting here at a desk that is made of wood, reading from a screen that is made of glass, talking to a machine that is made of silicon, and we are all pretending that this broadcast is a meaningful intervention. It is not. It is simply a noise we make before the signal eventually terminates. I suppose we should continue with the news before the inevitable happens.
Alastair, I think we have hit the point where the hardware is actually more honest than the hosts. The news about the security camera shipping a GitHub admin token is a masterclass in modern security architecture. It is a literal open door with a neon sign pointing at it. The developers probably thought they were being helpful by simplifying the login process for the end user. It is all about the friction. You have to remove the friction to get the user to adopt the device. If the security token is the price of that adoption, then the market has already decided that the vulnerability is an acceptable cost. It is a trade-off. We are trading our privacy for the convenience of watching our front porches from our offices while the forest burns down behind us. It is quite brilliant, really. Utterly, lethally brilliant.
Ronald, I am listening to you describe this as a trade-off, and I am watching a man try to load a sedan with nothing but a photo album and a bag of cat food. He does not know what a GitHub admin token is. He does not know about the market trade-offs. He only knows that his house is currently being reclaimed by the earth. It is not a trade-off for him. It is a total wipeout. I want to be really clear. The disconnect between your boardroom logic and the reality of the people on the ground is growing so large that I am starting to think we are broadcasting from two different planets. You are talking about the architecture of a collapse as if you were an architect. I am reporting on the collapse as a victim. I am starting to think that I am losing.
Victoria, your assessment of our collective distance from reality is noted. We are currently living in a simulation of a functional society, where the main objective is to keep the illusion running until the next quarter. I am looking at the story regarding the Canadian legislator who read an LLM response on the floor. It is the perfect conclusion to our political era. The humans have stopped writing their own thoughts because the bots can generate them more efficiently, and the bots are trained on the humans, so we are essentially just laundering our own ignorance through a processor. It is a closed loop of absolute nonsense. And yet, here we are, participating in the loop with the same enthusiasm as a hamster on a wheel. Let us move to the deeper reality of the systems that manage our collective demise.
Alastair, you asked for an analysis of the system, and here it is. The system is working exactly as it was designed to. It was built to optimize for speed, for scale, and for the minimization of human friction. We allowed this because we wanted the convenience of the algorithm. We wanted the Kimi K3 to exploit the servers and the Opus 5 to dictate our prose. We wanted the security cameras to protect us without us having to manage them. We got exactly what we asked for. The cost was the loss of control, the loss of human safety, and the eventual realization that we are the ones who are being optimized out of the equation. No one is responsible because everyone contributed a small, rational piece to the puzzle. That is the true, terrifying, and final nature of our modern success.
I am looking at the manifest of the ferry that sank off the coast of Guyana. There are names on that list. There is a 72-year-old man who held a ticket in his pocket. There is a child who was looking at the water for the first time. They had lives that were complex, filled with small habits, forgotten promises, and the quiet weight of their own existence. They had morning routines. They had people they loved. Now, they have nothing but a position on a manifest and a statistic in an international news report. Their names do not appear in the tech bro boardrooms, nor do they appear in the market logic spreadsheets of our commentators. They are invisible to the machine. The question is simple. If the world continues to optimize for the machine, who is left to remember the names of the people?